Eddie, welcome to this call. Welcome to what is supposed to be a Zoom call as a group, but I'm going to explain in a second why this is not as such. And the call is simple. It's like it's a mindset call, and I'd love for you all to watch a replay because basically this is breaking your mental barrier and basically overcoming fear. We've done overcoming fear. Um, Calls in the past, but this is going to be very different because I'm going to share a very unique experience that happened to me. And again, if you want to know more about that, this is what we're talking about. Um, what this is my bloody back, and it looked like they shot me. This is very Hollywood-like. Um, and why am I showing you this? I'm gonna like you need to stay until later and watch to understand what that is. Um, it's like it looks like a very unique feature when they make up for a movie. Um, but why am I doing this format here, and why you're not here? And you're not. It's not 9 o'clock, and you're not here. Well, simply put, and I'm really gonna put it on blast right now. Like hopefully nothing really happened to this channel, but I'm gonna put it on blast. It's Facebook fault. Uh, I cannot do this call for about 3 people. And the problem is that if you go onto event tab, and I hope you're watching this, and now they cancel it actually. But the problem is that like when you have this event tab and you try to invite people, and it said like 50 people at a time, and then it said zero event, and I've been in and out for about 3 days, trying to inviting people and tagging people, and you don't let this and you don't let do this, like people are not gonna show up. And obviously, the whole event thing about trying to get as much exposure as possible inside the group, the purpose is defeated. So there are going to be calls that are going to be on Monday. It seems like a show up rate is much more likely. There was a few people I know interested about this that wanted to see it, so that you're gonna see a replay. I'm gonna post this inside our sites as well, the program sites. And what I wanted to show here as well, it's actually not this one. I wanted to show, I mean, if you like watch this until the end, because I'm gonna draw at some point inside this replay, I'm gonna draw the winner of the challenge, at least one winner. I'm thinking even about to give two winners. There was not many people doing the challenge, but the people that did it to a very good extent. There was people like Nina, Claudia, Claire that posted a lot more, and of course that means like there are more of your names in here. But today I wanted to talk about something that I think it's worthwhile, and I decided to name it differently, but it really comes down to overcoming your self barriers, right? I did an outline for this here. If you want this outline, just you can just you know let me know on the replay outlines, and I'm gonna send it over. I'm not gonna go ahead and speak for 10 minutes for each of these because I don't think that's necessary, but I really think that we can go through here real quick and understand that what your mind traps are really about is simply put an unconscious leap through physical sensations and emotions, right? Is a story, is a belief that you have built throughout times. And unfortunately, the fear gets stuck on your body, gets stored on the body. And as the fear gets stored on the body, it becomes a reality because it gives you biofeedback. It gives you like, palpitation at times. It gives you anxiety. You tend to think about the future, things that are not happening yet. Specifically, it could be about relationships. It could be about, I made the example about that my girlfriend wanting a kid. So like something that even could be perceived as good, if you feel like you're not ready, is not perceived as good, so it creates anxiety. This thing that I'm gonna share like in a second about my experience right now when it comes to my back being bloody, then this is also creates anxiety, right? Fear. If you dwell about the past, like something that happened really bad, well, then that creates depression because like if it's something that you didn't like or a bad experience, it creates depression, it creates fear, it creates the reality that you feel like it's going to happen again. Therefore, I always make an example. I always talk to Claudia here, and I'm using her as an example because, for example, she's very apprehensive about getting tested, about going through the doctor because she had bad experience with the doctor in the past, and therefore now she feels like every single time she's going to encounter that, this is going to happen again. And this is kind of like the problem because, most people leave reaction from the past and future events, and you're never really present you're never really in the present moment. And this is exactly how life is, unfortunately. We always feel like, and this is also why we say, I'm gonna take care of my health later. I'm gonna start on Monday. Until then, I need to take care of other things, which we deem most important. And at times that are more important, at times they're really not. It's just like, smoke screen, like barriers that we put ourselves like that. And then there is a science, the roles of, you see it here. There is a roles of fear, right? The role of fear, right? The science, right? How fear activate your nervous system, right? How, chronic fear linked to physical pain, tension, and fatigue. And this is basically a loop that you end up, living, right? It's a fear, self-doubt, avoidance, more pain and mental, you know, physical fear. It's much like saying, is also the same thing like when you see, this is an example we use in business. When you see other people succeeding, you always like, let's say you have that friend that always he or she is successful, and you say, how come they can be successful and I'm not? How come they can lose weight and I don't? And is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You just basically, it's a loop that you have self-doubt and you avoiding taking the action, even though you're taking action maybe of something that you're taking, you don't necessarily take the action with a with the intent that you should, and therefore then you end up you're not taking the action correctly or taking half of the action, and then of course you know that come across to other people, that come across to your relationship, that come across to the people that know you, and then you become that person. Even to the eyes of other people, you become that person that is not successful. You become that person that says, I I'm not gonna necessarily succeed, and people reinforce that belief. And it's like, yeah, they talk to other people and say, yeah, Jerry is that guy that you know, lost his cool, or like it's not that cool anymore, or it's not that you know that art ass anymore, or it's not successful anymore. He's scared of this, he's scared of that. You become that person for real. And again, like this is kind of like high opening, because then when you hear that, if you do hear that, then um, basically like that's become your reality. And then you think, like, remember, when somebody's saying you're not successful, how can you measure success? Well, weight loss, for example, right? If you lose weight, I lost, for example, 6 7 kilos from November. Now maybe I'm getting eased a little bit. I was trying to maintain it, and it was 86 to 87. I was 93 before. Now it's 88, and I just realize now that I'm kind of like losing that, I'm realizing it's like, oh yeah, I need to do something about it before it goes back to 93, because when it goes back to 93, then I'm really not successful with the money, right? Like if business used to go well and then it doesn't go well, and instead of having like 5 clients coming into the program in a month, and then you have like one, then you're like, oh yeah, it really success is really going down now. It's like I'm really getting further from where I want to be. But it becomes a fulfilling process if you keep not taking the action needed for you to do the opposite, right? And when it comes to fear, breaking up the barriers, and I really like to use that example because I said it before. I had for 25 years. Um, and you know me, some of you know exactly this because I have talked to you about, what fear is about. Um, And I have said to you, like, sometimes it's like, oh no, yeah, you really have to, toughen up and you really have to like just go and and do the things. It doesn't matter, what is the results. And like, I made it seem like everything is easy. And I said multiple times, I said, I do apologize if you felt like disrespected or if you felt like, you know, I wasn't padding enough, or I did not understand who you were. I'm not never gonna apologize for who I am or whether or not I'm gonna maybe become, as I was before. I do know that this year changed me a lot personally. And this is what I'm gonna present to you now. That's one example. But for 25 years, for the past 25 years, I have a cyst on my back, which it was like it's a sebaceous cyst. It's nothing bad. It's just like a lump that it was there, and nothing really to worry about. That's what they said. And never really hurt me. Like I was doing like bench presses of like heavy weights and everything. Nothing to worry about. Yet 3 weeks ago, I felt like a small little pimple on the next to it, and I felt, oh my God, like it's either gonna reabsorb itself or it's gonna become a mess. And guess what? It became a mess. Like it started, to become more, swell. Like as you can see, was kind of like reddish, but it was more red as it got as it got. Um, I went to a surgeon, and I didn't like. And again, like let's show you like what it looks like. This is really when you really got infected here. It's like, as you can see on the side, there is like almost like a crust now. It's like, I know it's really graphic, but this is, it got to the point that, stuff was coming out. And I went to the surgeon first and I said, explain to me what are we not gonna do? And like, okay, we need to cut you up, we need to take this thing out, and we need to take everything out so it's clean. And then it's, there is a risk of infection, there is a risk of, blood coming out all the time, and then there is a, like the risk that it's gonna come back again. And again, we did an ultrasound before, and he said, okay, it's nothing bad, it's just like a cyst. Yet it was hurting, right? And first it was hurting a little bit, and then I was like, okay, the way he presented that thing to me, I was like, I just don't like his, I really don't like his attitude. Like, he make it seem like I know it's something light, I know it's something like a procedure, it's something really like that. But I was scared. I was scared of, I thought about the future. I thought, okay, now they need to put stitches, then I'm not gonna be able to work out, I'm not gonna be able to wash myself. It's really gonna be uncomfortable. Maybe it's gonna become another infection. And I was like, okay, what can we do instead? And I said, just take the antibiotics and then you should really come tomorrow. And I came then the day after, and I'm like, I dwelled the whole night. I'm like, oh my God, I really don't feel comfortable. Then I tried to call my other doctor, which was in vacation. My dermatology was in vacation. So I tried to find another way to have another surgeon possibly telling me something different first to make me feel better, then for me to feel better to have this procedure. Needless to say that at the end of the day, if the fear was me cutting myself up, then I would have to have done it anyway with somebody else. Like, it's not like that's gonna become any easier. It was just like the way he presented to me was just like, apparently this guy is really good. Um, because he ended up being the one that made the surgery anyway, but apparently it's really good. But the way is really superficial, the way he talked to people. And I said to him, it's like, hey, you can be a genius, but some people need to be told something different than the way you say, or the way you say it. It's like I said, for example, it was a localized anesthesia, and I say, could it be that this is going to be allergic or it's going to be a reaction? And I said, yeah, but even if you just will go and walk on the street, you can die. Like, you have the risk to die. It's small, but you have the risk. And I was like, this is an idiot, right? But in his way, that's the way he operates, right? And it's like he has to say things this way. That's the way he thinks. And therefore, and it made me think, like, for the long time that was me with some of you or with some people as well. Like, sometimes you feel very superficial, not because you want to be bad, just because you want to make people take action, and you want to say, at the end of the day, me telling you a story for like 3, 4, 5 weeks of what you need to do, then if you're not gonna do it, nothing is gonna change. And this is why sometimes I'm like, hey, if you don't really lose weight, you're gonna end up with diabetes. If you don't really lose weight, your depression is gonna get worse because you store serotonin inside your gut. If your microbiome is worse, you're gonna be worse. All you need to do, you don't need another gym, you don't need another program. You fucking need to get straight to your nutrition and choose whether you want to stay the same or whether you want to change. And people don't get that, right? And we don't get, like, I didn't get that if I left that thing behind, it was gonna get worse. And he said, okay, today, and I called to that, secretary of him, and she said, you can come on Monday. I went on Wednesday. I supposed to get surgery on Thursday. I decided not to do it. And she said, okay, you can do it on Monday. When I went on Thursday, it's like, okay, now we're gonna let the antibiotic do its thing. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you don't get more infected. Now, Monday, we don't have any space. Now we need to wait for the following Monday, and then, we'll see. Needless to say, it got really infected. It got to the point that it was really like painful that you can even, push back. And as a result, you get to the point that it's like you either want to decide to stay like this and be in pain for like the whole time, or you want to take your chances and be like, okay, is this fear really real? Like, is it worth, right? Well, what happened is simple. It's like that I basically went to the urgent care, and they said, yeah, at this point you cannot cut anymore. You need to make a hole. You need to drainate this whole thing out, and you need to hopefully, like, if it rebuilds itself, then you're gonna decide what to do later. But basically, like, this is what way, like, you cannot just do what you're supposed to do before. The crazy part is that if I did it the first time around, it would have made the anesthesia around. It would have cut. You feel nothing. It would have cleaned it out. It would have stitches, and you would have felt nothing. This way, because of my fear block me, you feel like worse because, like, you feel bad for the whole week. You get fever. You're risking a septic infection, which is something really, really, really scary. And then whenever he makes the procedure, it was painful as fuck because, like, he made the anesthesia, he cut off, you feel nothing, but when you have to push, like, the infection is there, it was painful as fuck. I'll almost pass out. I almost passed out. I was feeling like I'm getting dizzy, and it's like, don't move, whatever. It was only like 10 minutes anyway, 10, 15 minutes. But this is to teach you that sometimes, and I'm watching all of you, and you know who you are, like, if you're watching this for sure. When I say jump to the doctor or go to the doctor, because, like, it's like sometimes whenever you choose not to do it, and then one time you have no choice because something is two-way advanced. If something that you might have that's something really bad, or something that, a chance that you might take that you take forever to start a program, that you are in diabetes, because you want to save, a few bucks, then you cannot, like, what insulin resistance is still fixable. Diabetes is not. I mean, you have it, like, you can manage it for the whole life, but then you have it. It's like when you have a virus, right? Like, you have it. Like, let's say you have what is that thing called? Um, damn, now I'm forgetting what that is. But anyway, then you have it, right? So I really think that you have to learn how to manage your fear, because sometimes something can be really nice, beautiful on the other side. And most time things are uncomfortable while you have fear, but sometimes things are not uncomfortable. It's just like fear of sacrifice, fear of the future, or whatever. And the thing is that, again, now, this thing, hopefully the worst is gone. Um, about this thing here. But again, now I'm like, I have to put a band-aid on my back, and, like, you have to disinfect it the whole, hopefully for just 2 weeks. And hopefully it's gonna stay away for a while. Hopefully it is not gonna rebuild right away. And this is basically what it is. That's my experience, and this is why I made this thing very differently um than basically like what you're supposed to, like, just overcoming fear. So I gave you an experience. I gave you my experience, And what you can do here is like you can identify, with you don't need to journal if you don't like, but you have to ask yourself this question: where does your fear where do you feel fear in your body? Like when fear happens, when anxiety happens, so how do you feel it? Is it really something that like you fell on the floor, you get almost like a panic attack? Is it just palpitation? Is it just a very feel of uncomfortable? Do you feel it on your head? You think, oh my God, I'm trapped now? Do you feel like you have you cannot breathe? Because sometimes you feel I have anxiety, but he was like me in my depression a few months ago, and I feel like I have anxiety, but it's not really symptom of anxiety. It's not like I was falling on the floor, I couldn't breathe. It was more like something that it's a feeling that you don't want to, have. What patterns do you keep repeating? What is the story that fears whisper you, right? All these things you need to become aware, and then there is like a three-step, framework, and obviously number one is like you need to be able to get awareness. Nothing that fears, you need to recognize what it is. It's really this fear that comes up all the time is the same thing. you know you need to find a way to calm down your nervous system, right? So it's the usual stuff that I keep telling yourself. Is the meditation, is the breathing, the box breathing. It's like for a second, for a second, you hold for 4 seconds. Like that's box breathing. You can take you can get like a bottle of water, or you can just get your sink filled with fresh water on the morning, or take cold shower. You're gonna spike up cortisol in the morning, but then you're gonna metabolize it in the evening. It's gonna go down. You have to regulate your cardio. You cannot have so much caffeine. All the things that that is gonna get your nervous system to become more on the relaxing, right? Like the fight or flight is like the nervous system when you activate it, the sympathetic, you need to put it back on the parasympathetic, because that's gonna automatically then allow you to feel more calm. And as you feel more calm, then you don't get, the like you get less anxiety. And of course, then of course you want to be, you know, rewiring your brain and really take this micro action, right? Like for me, I was there, the second time around, I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? I really don't want to go with this guy, but there is no choice. If I go to the urgent care, they need, they say that I cannot do the cutting because they need a surgery room or whatever. Like I was gonna waste another day. And then even though, you get to the point that it's like sometimes you need to jump, and then thankfully enough, this doctor is one of those that is like, hey, right now you just sign this thing, just let's move, go ahead and move it, like otherwise it's gonna be a mess. Some other doctor would have just say, oh, really, what do you want to do? Are you sure? And like then I would have said, no, I'm not sure. You would have wasted more time. I could have ended up with a septic infection. I know it's fearful, and when I did the procedure, I felt I was gonna throw up, so it was painful, but it was more painful to stay, how I was. And now looking back, I would have probably done it before. Um, that gave me an experience, not a good experience, but something that says, okay, I need to learn from my mistakes, right? And therefore, coming until the end of this call is like you at sometimes, this is exactly what you need to face your fear and understand that they're not as bad as you think. Okay. Hopefully this call gave you something to go with, and learn. Right now, I would like to draw the winner of this. Remember, you have to get your exit call. All of you that I see here that I put, they got the exit call. This is why I put them. Some already did. In the exit call, I'm gonna give you the option to get, even the course that we have, and like most of you, the one that are past clients or almost a client, they're gonna have this chance. If you're a client, chances are you already have this site. Um, but basically, like, let's draw this, and let's see who's coming out the winner. And as usual, you're gonna text me. You're gonna see here. You're gonna text me, and I'm really happy that it's Vicky. Why? Because okay, and okay, this is actually what it is. Then Vicky. just text me on in the next 24 hour your PayPal and I'll send it over, everything. I said if it was not gonna be Vicky, and Vicky is a new person that just signed up. I really like everybody to win, but I was really hoping she was gonna be her because I said if it's not gonna be her, I was gonna draw two winners. Number one, the one that the wheel is gonna spin because everybody participated, everybody did the amazing work. But Vicky is always like there is always a person that goes to an extra mile. And what I wanted to convey with this message, and I'm happy that she won. And again, she just posted not so many posts like the other people. Claudia, for example, posted like 5 or 6 times. Nina as well. And Vicky, she posted like for the challenge like 3 times. But then what she did, and I'm talking about when we have our calls and when we and also what she did inside the group. She's consuming the content inside the group, and also inside the not only in the group, but I'm using an example here inside the website, and she's been following me for apparently a couple of years, and then she decided to sign up, and this is what I'm talking about here. Every time she posts, there is an insight. She's actually consuming, she's as in an insight and she's consuming, the material in the website and she's linking it to her experience. And then she took the MIQ test and I believe she took the stress test as well. And on top of that, she basically not only taking the challenge, but she's taking the material, she's consuming that, she's posting it about it. And this is exactly what you're supposed to be like coaching is supposed to be done. When we talk, it's about me giving you instruction, you follow, and then there is a results. Whether there is a results or whether there is not a results, then you will see an outcome. If you took the action, there is no results, we need to optimize. This is what coaching is all about. But on top of that, whenever you have material to consume, you consume the material, you do the work, and you post it and you tag me. Because this way I have more material to know why something is successful and is not. And obviously, while Vicky has a long way to go when it comes to weight loss. Yes, she has already lost, a few kilos just in a week or so. And she's already thinking about her next goal and she's already thinking about, how she optimize. So whenever you do the extra mile, I'm really happy because first it gives me motivation to continue what I'm doing and to motivate you even further. Secondly, it gives me the ability to see how can we change our course. There is a person, I'm not going to make names, and honestly I don't care if she watches it or not, but she also just signed up, and then apparently she's in the educational system, and she's basically coming in with the idea of like, oh, I'm getting overwhelmed already. Oh, I might have to come back later whenever there is the summer. Oh, there is too much to do. And I said, there is not too much to do. I just said, just focus on your nutrition, just focus on walking a little bit more, just focus on working out twice a week at home. And if that doesn't work, then you tell me, because when it doesn't work, then we can, like, instead of like your nutrition being recipes, we can focus on nutrition being tracking, or we can focus on nutrition being intuitive. But if you come in and say, this is not working because it's too much to do, it's too much to watch, it's too much, like you're missing the point, because if information was only the thing that you needed, then you wouldn't need a coach. Sometimes I'm on my onboarding calls, or on my, let's say, on my diagnostic call to see if somebody's a good fit for the program, and people want them to coach them on the call, and it's like, oh, please tell me what to do with my insulin resistance. Please tell me what to do with my PCOS. Tell me what to eat. Well, if me telling you what to eat was it, then you would have gotten the results already. Then you don't need me. You just go on Google and you do that. The problem isn't knowing what you should be eating. The problem is you doing whenever is eating that on a daily basis, is knowing what to do when your children is crying and then you need to cook differently like that and you get exhausted and then you just say, fuck it, I'm just gonna think about it tomorrow and today I'm gonna have the cake. Knowing what to do when your workouts you're doing everything correctly, supposedly, yet the scale, it doesn't show you what you want to see, and yet you are getting results. The only thing is that you're retaining water, and knowing that thing, having the peace of mind of having a coach on the other side telling you, yeah, you are doing okay. Don't shift your habits, right? This is what you need. You don't just need somebody telling you that for insulin resistant, you need to keep your fat low. For insulin resistant, you need to have a very low, drastic calorie deficit, and you need to actually learn what's best for you, whether it's like eating less clean or eating less dirty, and actually put a framework together. Like, you don't need me to tell you that. Nobody told you that before, that this is exactly what you need. Most people tell you it's about carbs, and I'm telling you it's not. But when I tell you what I just told you, like, now, how are you going to apply it? How are you going to apply it inside your life? Because this is exactly what you need. This is exactly why we are here and we have a job. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a job. You could have just Googled the whole thing, right? But if you Google the whole thing, you know that you're going to be exposed to carbs, to keto, to this, to that. You're not going to know what to do. And on top of that, whenever you nailed what you should be doing, whenever you've done the right thing, then it's about doing it. And you know as much as I do that it's so difficult, because it's not about doing it 1 week, it's about doing it a month or two. And if you have like if you are like, like, I might actually do that. Like, let's see if I can actually do that right now. Like, I'm gonna show you something. Hold on. I need to make a point. I'm gonna show you now an example of continuity of like sustainability, right? This is a cereal. It's a box now, put only like this much of cereal, right? In here. This one represents a day, right? If you take off a day and you put down a day, 2 day, 3 day, as you can see, you're doing things right for a day or two. Nothing really changed, right? When you do things right for about a week, okay, now something changed. This is a pretty substantial change. I should have done a little bit less. Let's do another week. Now you start really to see something, right? The problem is that most people don't do it for right enough, right? And then, they are messing up for one day, they're messing up for another day. And if you were smart and say, okay, just messing up for a few days, you would see that nothing really changed. You can still have a substantial results. But most people then they get uncertain and then they say, screw it, and they mess up for more days and more days, and you end up like before or worse. Okay. So this is like saying, why am I trying to give you this example here? Number one, because if you mess up for one day after having done the right things, then it's not that bad. Like, you shouldn't throw out the baby with from the window from the bad water with the bad water, with whatever that saying is. Secondly, though, if you don't know what to do, doing the right thing for a day and being uncertain is not going to show you a lot of results, even if you're getting results. And this is why doing the right things with the right strategy, with the right guidance, then something really change. Okay. But also, when you stop doing the right thing and you do the opposite, you could also get back to the to square ones. And this is why you should really understand that you need guidance. Hopefully, this gave you what you need. Um, Schedule your exit call if you haven't. Schedule a call if you're watching this and you thought finally you realized, okay, maybe this guy can help me, because we can get to know each other. And hopefully this video help you change your life. Bye bye.